show in the fall is dedicated to picks. That's right, boys and girls. Titans and Bears Sunday with coverage beginning at 9 a.m. here on The Zone in a brisk Windy City. Looking forward to it here on Sunday, and it has been fun having a Football Friday with all of you.
It has.
With a full Tennessee game and a big Tennessee game to preview in addition to the Titans. Guys, we essentially will use this time of the week to bring together everything we have discussed about the matchup, put it all in one place for you, and give you what we think is going to happen in this game. The Bears winning 5 of their last 8 games in 2023. They bring in Keenan Allen. They bring in DeAndre Swift to pair with the number 1 overall pick, Caleb Williams. And you've got Kevin Byard on this defense as well.
Yeah.
On the back end of things for Chicago. The biggest question of the game, the most significant thing you have no idea what is going to happen in this game. What is that for you guys? The most significant question mark you have going into this matchup?
How the run game's going to look.
I think that's got to be it.
Yeah, how the run game's going
100%.
to look. How will you use Tony Pollard? Like, we saw Dallas Tony Pollard, right? But we've seen other running backs go to different places and look totally different, right? Mm-hmm. Case in point, Le'Veon going to the Jets. You thought you was getting the same product, and it wasn't. Derrick Henry last night was used in a way that I think was similar here, but the output of how you got a free agent signing to give you production, that's what we don't know. Like, Tony Pollard, to me, well, no, period. Tony Pollard was one of the bigger free agent signings that kind of went under the radar because it happened so quickly in that running back market. But you also look at the fact that on the depth chart, it has Tony Pollard / Tajay Spears. How would they interject those guys in the run game and this offense? I think is going to be super unique. And I'm not even talking about the passing game with the two, but I think that is one of the more significant things right there.
I think I could go a couple ways with this, and I do agree with the run game. We saw clearly what the offensive line has done in the past couple of weeks, maybe even month now, with the right side being solidified for now, at least, in Nicholas Petit-Frere and Dylan Radins. But I really am interested to see what can this line do the first game of the season. How much have they really, learned under Bill Callahan against an actual real live NFL team, first team starters? That's what I'm interested in, because it's going to dictate so much of what, Will Levis will be doing in this game and the run game. And we know that's going to be a big part of every game. We heard that from Brian Callahan this season. So I'm curious, as we've seen good things, we've heard that they're progressing well from their mouths, but I really actually am surprised that I'm saying this, but I want to see it now in real game action, that line.
Yeah, for sure.
Interesting when you look at the Chicago defense over the final 10 weeks of the regular season with Montez Sweat there. Chicago ranked 6th in scoring defense, 17.9 points per game allowed. They were 10th in total defense, allowing just over 300 yards per game. Mind you, guys, that was with not a lot of help from their offense. I think that's what's more impressive about that. The stat sheet can lie to you sometimes about team defense in this game, especially when you had an offense that was going 3 and out quite a bit.
I know.
That was not a good Bears offense last season, led by Justin Fields and at times Tyson Bagent, while Fields was out in Chicago. So I think looking at that context, it's even more impressive what they're able to do. This is the number 1 run defense of the NFL last season, over the entire season. 2nd fewest rushing touchdowns allowed as well. Wow. For that reason, to the point about Tajay Spears, Tony Pollard, and what that breakdown looks like, I think their biggest contribution in this game might be in the screen game and in the ability of Brian Callahan to dial up screens to his backs to 2 of his biggest playmakers in Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears without having to put them on a silver platter for those big guys and for those linebackers and try to help the Titans offensive line in the process, because that's the name of the game for the Titans. How do you help Nicholas Petit-Frere in the matchup against Montez Sweat? That is objective 1, 2, or 3, however you want to put it. It is right up there at the top of the whiteboard for the Titans going into this game.
And I'm glad you said that, too, because I was going to clarify that. We've been talking about Sweat. At least I'll throw myself in there like he's rushing off the offensive tackle left side. It's not. And I don't want us to go into this weekend, too, thinking that the matchup is Montez Sweat and J.C. Latham.
Right.
No, it's NPF.
It's NPF.
Yeah.
And to your point on how you slow him down, those rushers, it's the screen game. It's the throwing the bubble routes. It's the getting the ball out of the quarterback hands quick. This may be what we saw all training camp. The whole
Especially in that last preseason
no
game.
doubt about it. And then think about practice. What do we speak about? We've been looking for the deep ball.
Intermediate.
Short game, intermediate game is what we're looking for. Even last night, how many deep passes was thrown? If we can be honest, was it Xavier like? I mean,
towards the end, right?
Yeah,
that last drive.
Lamar was certainly more towards the end. But
Xavier Worthy down the sideline was a throw and catch for a long run.
Jalen Watson had the breakup on Zay Flowers at one point down the sideline, but there was a lot of dinking and dunking to athletic, quick, yards after catch like receivers.
And and I think we're being thrown off by seeing explosive plays, thinking, oh, that was a 50-yard catch when it was really a 10-yard pass for a 40-yard run. So that's the side of it, and that might have to be the game. And then week one, the unknown, and so many unknowns. All I know is I can look on tape and see how Montez Sweat rush. I can look on tape and see how DeMarcus Walker rush, right? I can see all of those things, but I don't know what it looked like. I don't know what it looked like in this Bears defense in 2024. Yeah. So because of that, we have to protect ourselves as offensive players. Mm-hmm. Coach, what do y'all want? Man, let's run the ball. All right, what else do you want? Man, let's get the ball out quick. Okay, and what else? Well, let the playmakers make plays. Those are the answers you give in week one until you get about 4 weeks of tape on the team. After 4 weeks of tape, now we can start breaking you down and say this safety doesn't move in this set, because the NFL is like I say it all the time, and you guys got me hype about this doggone football stuff. But it's a smart man's league. You can't be an idiot out there. Idiots don't play. And coaches who are idiots aren't employed either, unless you just straight up bad or whatever. But what I'm telling you is this: you got to give it time. So I expect a slow dink and dunk style of offense that they fed us all training camp.
I also have a question about will it be clear communication? They could say all they want. We've got to communicate better on the back end, playing for the first time as starters. Because even Roger McCreary told me that this week. Yeah, it's always about communication back there. But this week is important more than anything, in practices, being prepared for something, because none of us have played all at the same time. I mean, that's Roger McCreary, Chidobe Awuzie, throw in Quandre Diggs and Amani Hooker, like all of them at the same time. We just haven't seen it at all this year. And with that much versatility that they have with those receivers, and add in the tight ends, it is very important for that to happen. So I've got to see it, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
If Will Levis has time to throw in this game, all of a sudden I like the Titans' chances.
Sure.
I think it might come down to that a lot this season, is the progression of the Titans' offensive line and Will Levis's ability to be comfortable and to be himself. That is what we saw against the Saints that I thought was really impressive. When he had time, at times even last season, I think Will Levis was seeing ghosts. I think there was a clock in his head that was, the alarm was going off so fast
issue
that his feet were a little louder. He's maybe simulating pressure that wasn't even there sometimes. And to be fair to him, he was under a ton of pressure last season. But I think the footwork and the mechanics and just the calmness that you see in the pocket with Will Levis is night and day at this point. And you're going up against a front seven that had the lowest sack percentage and the second fewest sacks in the NFL last season. And they still don't really have a dude opposite of Montez Sweat. They don't have a lot of depth in that front seven. Jervon Dexter is a good player, a young guy in the middle of that defensive line. And their linebackers are excellent in diagnosing and stopping the run. And Edmonds and TJ Edwards are terrific. But I think this is a pretty good matchup for the Titans offensive line to begin the season with, in a defense that is not going to challenge you up front the way your AFC South competitors will.
Yeah, no, I was thinking the same. How important is this win or loss this weekend, too? I mean, winning is always the ultimate
goal. I think
goal.
this is a swing game this season. I think this is a big game.
Yeah.
Because if this team is going to make the playoffs, they're going to have to win games like this when they are on the road and still only a 3.5-point underdog now. The line is moving in the Titans' direction for this game as well. It's gone from 4.5 to 3.5 in their favor.
I think in the next 4 weeks, they got to get 2 wins at least. So if I think they could still do that possibly without winning this game, but it does make it a lot easier. And I'll say this too, it makes it a lot easier to continue to build that momentum off of even those preseason, wins that they don't count, but you can start to really build something off this. It is important. I just don't think it's the end all be all.
Yeah.
It's 1 week,
right?
Yeah.
It's 1 week, but I think setting the tone, if they win this game, I think it goes a long way towards us feeling like the momentum and the positive energy and just the positive vibe, for lack of a better term, in that locker room matters.
And win or loss, let's go loss. Let's play devil's advocate here for a little bit. What don't you want to see? And I'll start this one. Like, what I don't want to see is what looks like you don't have a plan. I don't want to see you get pushed back and bullied in this game. I don't want to see cornerbacks. Let's go that direction because Chicago's got really good wide receivers that we believe still have it. Keenan Allen is who I'm speaking of. Like, he still has it the same way we speak about D-Hop. I don't want to see guys just get beat as if, respectfully to what's his name, Christian Fulton last year. If we believe in the free agents that was signed, the level of play should be elevated because you cut the fat with some of those guys that you thought was problems for you. I love what Aziz Al-Shir did last year for us, right? But you chose to move on for him and bring in Kenneth Murray, bring in Ernest Jones, trust Jack Gibbons still has it. You don't want to look like you are a team that we saw just lose game after game and frustration sets in, and you have conversations around the locker rooms like, what are we doing here? If you lose this game, the payoff of in week 1 we're more competitive than we were even still last year. I hope it's a conversation we're able to have on Monday because, again, Chicago's got some guys. Will just gave you the stats on what their defense is capable of doing.
Sure.
What I don't want to see is if Will Levis, Will Bowling, has a pocket, can he make the throws?
That's the question.
Well, and that's mine. It's hands down. If he is not being a smart quarterback, which we think he's learned some things this offseason, and he's had development with Brian Callahan's staff and Bo Hardigree, but if he's making some of those same mistakes we saw last year, even the interceptions or putting his body at risk, those types of things, to me, those are little things you have to continue to build on. And they said that's what they've worked on. He said, I'm going to protect myself better. I can't do that again. Those little things have to change.
Running and hitting folks. Yeah, I don't want to see that this week because you got options. And your coach just told you.
You do have options. You're right.
Throw it away.
Right. Yeah.
I know the percentage matters, but, bro, throw that ball away.
So let's pick it. Predictions and pick. What happens Sunday in Chicago?
I look at this as a low to the ground type of game. Short, low to the ground is where it's got to be. I'm looking at this Titans 20, Bears 18.
Okay.
All right. That's very close to what my exact score prediction is. We did not talk about our scores beforehand. When you say low to the ground, what do you mean by that?
I mean, it might be a slower game. There's so much anticipation.
Time of possession.
I think the Titans defense getting to their quarterback is a thing, so incompletions is going to be a thing. And I think the same thing can go for Will Levis. I think the establishment of running the ball will be an item for each side too, right? And I think the war of attrition, defense versus defense, young quarterback versus young quarterback, keeping it simple, silly is the motto this weekend for I feel like both sides because there's so much pressure into this weekend, Kayla, before you go. Go ahead.
What was yours again?
2018.
Yeah, so mine's 24-21. I think that it'll be a 3-point.
Who?
Oh, the Titans.
Oh, okay. All right.
24-21 is what I'm going
with. They say
with.
standing on business over
Yeah, and I agree. I don't think it's going to be super high scoring. I know people want to see that out of the gates. People want to see those 30 points plus. Give it time. This is always what I think we think the first game of the year is going to be like that, and then it is a little bit more opposite. So, yeah, I'll go a little bit lower with the points this week, but I still think the Titans will get out of there with a win.
Oh, man, I'm really tempted to flip just so all three of us are all picking the Titans.
Do it.
Titans are 3.5-point underdog in this game. But I do think ultimately Caleb Williams makes a mistake that costs Chicago in this game. Whether that is a fumble, whether that's an interception, whether that's him making a bad decision and missing an open target. I think the Titans are a tricky matchup for a rookie quarterback, considering the aggression that they have and how healthy they are on the back end. That, to me, is the difference. I think L'Jarius Sneed is the difference in this football game between the Titans winning it and losing it. If L'Jarius Sneed puts together a good performance and is able to limit DJ Moore, I think the Titans win this football game. I've got them 24-20. I think in this game with two young quarterbacks, you're going to see a lot of field goals. You're going to see teams getting in the low red zone and settling for 3. But I do think the Titans win this game because I just think that the pressure is a lot on Caleb Williams. I think it's enough to change this game. And I think at some point, guys, playing at home with the pressure Caleb Williams has isn't always a good thing. Because I think sometimes you go on the road, you can play the nobody believes in us card. You can play the we don't feel the pressure. We're going to go rookie quarterback, try to win this game. I think at home, it's all right. All these people showed up, and I'm their savior. Yeah. If you're Caleb Williams, I know he says he does not feel nervous. He's also never made his rookie debut as an NFL quarterback before. This is the moment that since Caleb Williams was 12, he has been building up for. He has been preparing for being an NFL starting quarterback. And I think the moment is too big for him in this game. Give me the Titans 24, the Bears 20.
Also, if you look on the other end, Will Levis, people could say, well, he has pressure on him too. Not like that, though, because he's already played in NFL games. He's already kind of had those nerves shaken off. And Caleb Williams, while you'd love to play at home, he's playing in front of a crowd that, like you said, has the expectations. I just think Will doesn't have that, and that also gives Will a little bit more of an edge.
There you go. It's a clean sweep. We're going Titans on Sunday. Coming up, though, we will give you our one biggest key to the game. The one thing the Titans will have to do in order to pick up a victory on Sunday in Chi-Town. That's next.